What's up, peddlers? Guess what's on sale at Aldi again? Well, at least it was when I was making this video. Hopefully your Aldi still has them. If not, hang out, they will come back. I've seen them a few times in the last couple of years. So I am just doing a quick update today on life with my BikeMate work stand. I've been using it quite a bit. I have some slightly unfair comparisons, but we will get to that here in just a second. So let's just say I've been using the stand a lot for the last couple of years, year and a half, 2 years, I guess, whenever I posted it. And I've had quite a few questions on the stand itself, and I never got around to making a video to address these. So I'm going to address as many of these questions as I can remember offhand. Thing number one, bike weight. I currently have my heaviest rig on here right now. It is a Mongoose Kyber Elite from 2007. This thing weighs in at approximately 36 pounds. I'd have to do some conversions for kilo and stone, but it's not light it by any means. Does it pull down on the stand a bit? Yeah, a bit, but I feel perfectly safe working on this bike on this stand without any issues whatsoever. The extra legs, if you take a look down here, basically where the wheels fall and where you would normally stand at the bike to work on it, legs aren't ever really in the way. The only time you might have an issue is maybe behind the stand a bit, but I don't go behind my stand to work too much. I try to work over the bike as much as possible. Just makes things a little bit easier, and a lot of times I don't have an option to really get behind it and work efficiently, so working on this side of the bike is what I do. The other thing, and this was a big thing that just due to the photos that everybody saw on the box, the way the bike is mounted to the stand. I have and always will mount to a seat post. Sometimes it's not an option. It's very rare, but sometimes it's not an option. Try to mount to the seat tube if you have to. Do not put a ton of pressure on it if you have to do it that way. That being said, as you can see, the bike is sitting here, being held up at the seat post, how I would normally work on a bike. The other things that you may need to do sometimes is work on the front of the bike a bit. Come around. There is a nice little knob right up here. Give this a bit of a twist, break it loose, and you can now rotate the bike upwards. Tighten it back down. Oh, I say tighten it, I'm not left-handed, sorry. Tighten it back down and the bike stays upright. Got the front wheel lifted higher than it was, back wheel lower than it was. So you can pivot around like you would any other bike stand. It is not as sturdy when it comes to moving the bike fore aft this way, but you can do it. Down, up. It is there, it does stay. I typically will keep it down front heavy, but like I said, price wise, for 30 bucks, I got mine for 20, like I said in the other video. I did actually go buy another one because I had heard some complaints about parts breaking or parts falling off. I have not had any issue in the last 2 years of losing parts, but I did buy a spare the other day, which I may either end up giving away. So thing number, whatever number we're on, the things that I have found that aren't quite as nice as a nice stand, the problem that I have with this current comparison is I'm comparing these things to a stand that I've been using at the shop. It is one of Park Tools' high-end professional stands with an extremely heavy solid plate base, all metal construction. The stand doesn't move anywhere. It's not portable in any way, shape, or form, and it is way more than $30. I will see if I can find a link for it and put it in the description if you want to see what I'm comparing it to. Feel free to check it out. If you've got money to spend, go for it, hit it up. They're great stands. But on that topic of things that I find a little when working on the bike, doesn't take a whole lot for me to get it to swing around. Right up here, this is all plastic construction. They did a pretty good job keeping it stable, and it is definitely noticeable that when I'm working on the bike, it has some movement, and you can tell that it's definitely coming from up here. That being said, it is more on my heavy bikes. When I put any of my lighter bikes in here, anybody's carbon bikes in here, I don't notice it very much at all. The other thing that I have an issue with is actually just the width of the jaws, how tall they are. Sometimes it makes getting a seat post in there very difficult. I've got to raise it up or lower it. Well, raise it up, never really need to lower it. I typically will need to raise the seat post up an inch or two higher than I would on just about every other stand that I've used. Outside of that, let's jump around to pulling the bike off the stand real quick and showing breakdown. That was another question I had, with setup and breakdown. So let's jump and take a look at that. The quick release on this is probably one of the nicest features, and one of the main reasons I really like this stand is the fact that it has a quick release function. So we've got the stand down in its open mode. Breakdown, we're going to go through the breakdown procedure. The setup procedure is exactly the opposite. We will do both, but it's exactly the opposite. So for breakdown, to telescope the upper pole, the lower twist knob by the tray, give it a couple twists, slide that upper pole down, tighten it back up. For the legs, there is a twist knob down here at the bottom. Hopefully everybody can see it. Sorry about the shadows. I'm working in Florida's fickle daylight. Again, loosen this up. I lift the stand slightly, pull one of the legs until it starts to slide. Be very careful not to catch your fingers in between any of the legs or any of the bending parts. It doesn't feel awesome. I'm not saying that I've done it, but I've done it. So, this is the folded up position. To store it, I tighten it back up. I flip the legs flat. The little feet on here, sorry. Get them nice and flat. Boom. Thing sits, stands, hangs out all by itself, does its own thing. So this is in its freestanding position. Feet nice and flat on the ground. All right, setup procedure. In the order that I do it, you can do it in whatever order you like. This is typically how I do things. So I will start with the legs. Give this knob a little bit of a twist. Get it nice and loose in case it gets a little stuck inside of here. Worst case scenario, you might need to take a screwdriver or something flat, kind of pry this little bit open here. But take one of the legs, give it a little tug. Should just kind of slide out. Tighten it down. Make sure your little feet are flat. Don't know if you saw that, but after straightening the feet, they look kind of like this, and then I just kick them down, make sure they're nice and flat. Gives you a nice solid surface. And there's the stand in its lowest position. And somebody questioned height. Height's silly. When I say silly, I mean I don't know if I would ever really put a bike at this height. One, I'm not really tall enough to need a bike at this height. Days like today, I wish I had a cameraman. So base, going up, still going up, still going up. There's the top. So I'm going to stand and see if we can see me on camera here. I am 5'10"-ish. I'm gonna stand right next to the side of this thing. I'm 5'10". There's the top of my head. I've still got another 4 or 5 inches up to the top. And just for giggles, I'm going to attempt to mount my heaviest bike all the way up here. Just for giggles, just for you guys, I'm going to put a heavy bike on this thing at full extension. if I hurt myself and I'm not riding for a while, this is for you, YouTube. And my loyal pedalers. Jeez, that thing is high. There you go, full extension, and actually, I would trust it to sit up there. So if you're looking for a little bit of bike storage, get the bike off the ground, there's an option, full extension. The heaviest bike that I currently have, which is heavier than most of today's newer downhill bikes. It should be fine. But it is what it is. Like I said, for a $30 stand, I use this to wash my bikes, lube my chains, do some basic maintenance. A lot of times I'll just bring the bikes to the shop since I'm there all the time and use the nice stands and the nice tools, but I am limited on tools on some days. But if you can find one of these and you're on the fence about getting a work stand because you're not really sure how much you're going to use it, this is the stand that I recommend. There are some on Amazon that are The biggest thing that I have to say is I love this quick release handle. This quick release handle has changed how I feel about cheap stands. Problem is most of the cheap stands do not have that. Upper pole telescopic knob. But that is my BikeMate Bike Repair stand. This is the same one from the review that I did a little over a year ago, I believe. I'll have to check the date on that, but same stand, going strong. It gets tossed in and out of my car, out of my shed in the back. Gets brought on trips with me. It goes everywhere. It gets pulled out at the trail. It pretty much is my go-to stand. Not because it's better than a higher end stand, because I'm less worried about it, but again, because I'm less worried about breaking it or having something happen to it, I tend to use it a lot. So, you know, for 30 bucks, pick up two and you're still under the price of a park stand. And yeah, might it break? Sure. But you have the same chances of park stands having problems. Yeah. The only thing that I can kind of give a heads up on and kind of a warning is I'm not sure that parts will be super easy for these things to find. But BikeMate does have a pretty good website, so I don't know if it would be impossible. I haven't actually checked because I haven't needed to buy anything for this. It's held up very well. It's been abused, it's been used, but hopefully my pedalers enjoyed this update on my BikeMate Bike Repair stand. And if you haven't got one, go get one. Or support your local bike shop and spend a couple $100 if you know you really want a good work stand that you're going to use a lot. For me, it was worth the 30 bucks. Again, thanks for pedaling with me. Paul out.